Okay. We talked before about the sort of fundamental description of acting, which was behaving truthfully under given imaginary set of circumstances. Now, I want to relate this to character work. How does character come into this? What we talked about was that you need to receive, register, and respond, and that will engage the audience because they will because you're going through the actual process of what happens in real life when we have stimuli that we need to react to and respond to. And remember, acting is about reacting. You cannot just start acting because it is not related to anything. We only act in life as a response to something because we need to react to it. We're tired, so we need to sit down and lie down. We don't just sit down and lie down and then say we're tired. It's a response to something. Our actions are always a response to something. Going to the kitchen and getting something to eat is a response to an internal stimulus, hunger. So if somebody says something to us, we respond to them. If they hadn't said something to us, we only say something if we need to say something, so we respond into an internal need. So it's always reacting. Reacting is what you need to look at and concentrate on. Now, different people react to the environment and to stimuli differently, and that is what creates character distinction, apart from, as it were, the physical attributes, the physical characteristics of a person, apart from the look and the sound of the voice or the accent, etc., and what they're wearing. Character really is about how differently people behave and respond to the environment. In fact, I'm sure you've heard this this statement was sometimes when people say, "Oh, he's not himself today," or "She's not herself today." But what do they mean by that? I mean, she's not herself or he's not himself, because that person is behaving differently than they normally do. So they come across as a different character. So even people and family members say, "Oh, they're not themselves today." So it's interesting. We distinguish people based on their responses to stimuli. So character work is about understanding how a person sees their world, because we respond to stimuli based on how we see our world. We all see the world very differently. We all experience life and the world and the environment and stimuli differently. So when you're working on character, what you need to do is break down why a person, a particular character, responds to the environment differently than you do. What is it in their makeup that makes that distinction? Well, nature and nurture are both important. So when you're doing character work, you need to actually break down. That's why people do some character background work. They need to understand what factors were involved in getting this character to be who they are. Right? How do they respond to their world, and why do they respond to it that way? You see, you may respond to a crisis calmly, but a different character may respond to a crisis totally erratically, or irrationally, or emotionally, or very in a very cold and cool manner, or dismissively. A number of things can happen. This can all be traced back to both nature and nurture. You need to look at that and analyze and break down. So character breakdown, the purpose of character breakdown is only to understand how that character sees the world. If you see the world and experience the world through the senses, the sensory mechanisms of that particular character, then you will automatically respond as that character. So you don't have to manufacture your responses to create a character. You actually need to commit to their interpretation of their world, the way they see their world. And of course, the way we see our world has to do with associations as well. based on our background or upbringing, we associate we have different emotional and intellectual associations with different stimuli. And that again affects our responses to what's coming at us. Of course, apart from that, again, you need to break it down, character, into, I would say, 4 different aspects of behavior. One is intellectual, the other one is physical, the other one is emotional, another one is social. So, although there are a lot of crossovers between these different aspects of characterization, it's helpful to separate them initially and then find the crossovers. So in other words, somebody that's been working in a factory all their life, doing very manual physical work, that person has a different physical interaction with their environment than someone who has never lifted a finger to do any sort of manual work, and all they've done is very much academic or intellectual work. Now, again, there are variations within these, so you don't want to generalize, but at least you will find certain directions to work in. Same thing with the emotional background of the character and the emotional response. Some character may have some people have a short temper. Some people have a very good even temper. Some people are intellectually much more adept and they can analyze things much quicker. Some people are challenged intellectually. Socially, some people could go in a party and be the life of the party even if they don't know anyone, or they could stand in a corner and suffer. And that's where the crossover happens emotionally, because they cannot be as sociable as other people. You see? So all of these have crossovers, of course. And so tracing this back saves you a lot of time, because you start to then embody how they see their world, and then you don't have to think about how to react, because that's the worst thing you can do as an actor, to actually manufacture your reactions and think how to do it. You need to allow, because our body and our mind and our voice is much more creative, in fact, when we respond spontaneously, when the true creativity shines out. Whereas if we pre-manufacture it, somehow what we're doing is we are delivering a regurgitated version of what we've seen before in the world, how we've seen people respond to something. So we're mimicking effectively. We're not truthfully, not doing truthful acting. Okay, that's much more engaging and much more creative. So the process of performance and process of training as an actor is really crucial, because what it does is it makes the job much more efficient, much more effective, and much more fun and easier. Otherwise, you suffer through a whole lot of trial and error. Now, of course, there's always trial and error anyway. You don't want to give yourself and burden yourself even with more challenges. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, because this subject is vast and there's so much more to talk about. If you're interested in learning more about performance fundamentals, or putting the fundamentals that you've learned already under sharper focus, then check out my website and arrange a free initial consultation session. Thank you.